Hi everyone, Sandeep here. So welcome to this exciting demo of Argo Rollout MCP Server. So as I have already spoken during the Argo CD demo that I am building something which will definitely going to manage your deployment, because Argo CD was to onboard your application. Now comes the managing your deployment. When I say managing your deployment, that means you must have heard certain terms known as A/B testing or canary based deployment or rolling update or blue green. So what it is, how we are doing as a DevOps engineer. So we'll be going to demystify through this MCP server known as Argo Rollout MCP Server. So this Argo Rollout MCP Server I have already open source, so you can find the repository link here. So it's now officially part of TalkOps MCP Server. Just go to this link, okay, and it contains various MCP servers which will help you in your DevOps day-to-day life. So till now we have Helm MCP server which manages the Helm lifecycle. Argo City is to onboard your application. Now comes the managing of your deployment, okay, and there is Terraform MCP server. So just go through all these things. So they are written in such a way that, so whatever the experience I have, so I have tried to give all those experience as form of this MCP servers, okay. So coming back to Argo Rollout MCP server, so again this Argo Rollout MCP server is been built on top of Argo Rollout tools, and again this is coming from Argo Rollout project. If you want to get the details of Argo Rollout, then feel free to go to their website, and they have pretty much standard website. So they have covered everything, how you will be going to manage traffic management, okay, what's the rollout, how one should get started. If you want to get your hand dirty, then I would highly recommend to go to their documents and start at least configuring your application, so that you will be aware how the things behind the scene is working, okay. So yes, so coming back to this rollout MCP servers, the way which I have divided this demo is again, so for this specific part, so I will be giving quick walkthrough regarding this Argo Rollout MCP server. So what is it? What is the functionality which this Argo Rollout MCP server gives? What are the tools or the resources or the prompts which will be part of this Rollout MCP server, or how one should get started? Okay. So coming back to the quick features, so the way which the tool has been written, again the standard way I have already followed. So I have divided the tools into multiple feature set. So you will find tools specific for deployment and migrations, okay. So when I say migrations, let's suppose you have already existing deployment, okay, and you want to migrate your deployment into rollout. So all you have to do is invoke the corresponding tools and your deployment will automatically gets migrated to rollout, okay. Behind the scene it will do everything, okay. So you don't have to do, or you don't have to take care of the background processes. At a given time, let's suppose during the migration you want to monitor something, then this rollout MCP server is equipped with the corresponding resources, so that the agent should be aware that what is happening behind the scene, okay. So there will be tools specific for managing your deployment lifecycle. So let's suppose you have already configured or onboarded canary or blue green deployment, okay. Now you want to manage their lifecycle. When I said lifecycle, means you want to roll out certain feature, you want to actively check whether that feature which has been getting rolled out. This MCP server again comes with certain tools which will help you on managing the life cycle of an individual deployment strategy, okay. So it can have features corresponding to promote or rollback, okay. It can, at a given time, it can pause or resume and actively roll out deployment, okay. So coming back to architecture, the MCP clients will talk to this MCP server via HTTP or STD or transport, okay. And behind the scene there is couple of tools, resources and the prompts which has been exposed by this MCP server, and the backend logic is been written by this service layer, okay. And eventually all this backend logic needs to connect to the Kubernetes cluster so to manage the deployment, okay. So this is how the architecture looks like, and the tech stack is nothing but the fast MCP server along with the Argo rollout CRDs and Python client, okay. So how one should get started? So I would highly recommend that you just pull this image. So I have already posted this image on the Docker Hub. You can find the links here. Just one second now. So I have already posted this image on Docker Hub. So just go to this repository, and this is the repository. Okay, all you need is pull the latest tag. Okay, and you just run this command, bind to this port. By default it is listening on 8768. If you want to expose it on different ports, all you have to do is override this variable or change the port. The only prerequisite is you have to bind your kubeconfig into the container. Okay, and this is how within seconds will be get started. And on the client side, you have to configure MCP server, the URL where this MCP server is exposed. Okay, so the only prerequisite is that you have the Kubernetes cluster, the Argo Rollout CRD is there. So if you haven't installed the Argo CRD and the controller, then you can use Helm MCP server, okay, to install the Argo Rollout via Helm. Okay, and manually if you want to install, then you can install it via this command. And let's suppose you want to contribute in this project, then all you need is clone this repository, go to this MCP server, okay, and create a virtual environment and activate this virtual environment and install all the required packages. So there are a couple of environment variables which this MCP server has been set. Okay, so there is this environment variable and that there is this default variable. So at a given time, as per your requirement, if you want to override it, then feel free to override it. Okay, coming back to this tool set, we have a tool specific for migration and generation. So this tool set is going to help you in either generating your rollout manifest file or migrating existing deployment to rollout. Okay, so you have a tool known as convert deployment to rollout. So it will convert the existing deployment to rollout. So let's suppose you have already converted your deployment to rollout. At a given time you have requirement that no, I don't want to manage my deployment through rollout, I want to manage via the Kubernetes way, the basic rolling update. Okay, so you have a tool known as convert rollout to deployment. If you want to manage the legacy deployment, then there is tool known as manage legacy deployments. Okay, if you want to create stable canary services, okay, so there is this tool which is going to help you, and we will see all these tools in action on coming videos. Okay, so these are the examples individual to all these tools, right? So there is tools specific to manage life cycle. Okay, when I say life cycle, then if you want to create, delete, update or manage rollout, okay, so you have this tool. So it will cover entire life cycle of a given deployment strategy, and you will find the example for that particular tool. So in order to invoke this tool, all you have to do is trigger this prompt. Okay, so on the validation and traffic and observation side, so these are the tools which is going to help you. Okay, so this Argo create experiment, right? So if you must have heard there is concept known as A/B testing. So at a given time, two versions of your production code is going to run for a particular duration. Okay, let's suppose v1 and v2 is running, and you have already configured an experiment which says if the desired result is this, then I will promote any of the two versions. Okay, and let's suppose the v2 wins the race. Okay, so automatically via this tool the v2 version should get rolled out on the prod. Okay, so this is A/B testing. So on total tool availability summary, so migration and generation there are 6 tools. Lifecycle, for managing lifecycle operation there are 4. Validation there is 3. So total is 13, right? So these are the resources which is part of this MCP server, or which has been exposed by this MCP server. The agent want to perform some kind of rollout, okay, and want to fetch the details of the rollout list. So all the agent needs to do is invoke this or trigger this endpoint to get all the list. Okay, so from the rollout list, so let's suppose the agent wants to get certain information for a particular rollout. All the agent needs to do is trigger this endpoint, okay, providing the namespace and the name of the rollout, so it will get all the details. Okay, so while performing the A/B testing, at a given time the agent wants to know the exact status or the progress of that testing. Okay, so there is this resource which is going to help on the rollout summary. So the agent needs to get the rollout active rollout summary, then this is the resource which is going to help the agent. Okay, and you will find all the details how you will going to invoke these resources from the agent or the MCP client. Okay, and we will see these all these resources in action during the workflow, when we will cover each and individual workflow. Okay, so this is resource. And on the prompt section, so I think there are 7 prompts. When I say 7 prompts, that means 7 workflow is there. So all you need is invoke this workflow or the prompts giving the required information. Okay, so it will automate all the process. So this is how this prompts looks like, resources and tools. So we'll see all this workflow in action in the next videos. So I will end this video, and we will see the deployment to rollout on onboarding workflow on the next one. Okay, see you, bye.